Biggie. This goes out to you. This goes out to you and you and you, Biggie. And you.
All right, here we go. I think everyone is in here that needs to be in here. So what's up to the Biggie fam? Welcome into the AMA today with Flex. Existing Biggie fam, always good to see you guys in here. Flex community, great to have you in here today as well. If you've been here in the past, you know Flex is one of my absolute favorite new projects. This is our second AMA together, so I'm eager to hear about all the progress that's been made since we last connected about 6 months ago now when we discussed the seed round opportunity, which looking back now, I'm so glad that I jumped into, and I think many here did as well. And I think we may be close to almost a 3X already going back to that time if you jumped in at that stage, but we'll get into that progress today as we get deeper into the discussion and what it all means for seed and TGE buyers and investors. And for all of you that may be new to Flex, a quick intro. Flex Perpetuals is launching on the Base network, which I'm also a big fan of. And the Flex Perpetual strategies is really straightforward, everyone. It's just to build the best, the fastest, the most cost-effective, in my opinion, the most transparent leverage trading platform on the Base network. So for today's agenda, I'll give you a quick overview. We're going to do a quick intro to Flex Perpetuals, understanding what it is, who will use it, most importantly, how we make money from it. We're going to talk about what's been happening since our last AMA 6 months ago, developments that have occurred during that time frame for the seed and the TGE investors. You're going to start getting your ROI very soon, so we'll talk about how. We'll explain how seed investors will earn, what options that TGE investors have once the project does go live on launch. We're going to talk about FLP, which is a really integral part of the ecosystem at Flex, providing liquidity during what's called the surge for extra bonuses. We'll get into that, talk about the roadmap a little bit, and of course, questions. As we go through this AMA, each section, ask questions at any time in the chat. That's why we're doing this today. So you have a full understanding of the project, how to best utilize it. So throw some questions in the chat. I'll be monitoring the chat, or just come up to the mic, request to speak. We'll open up your mic. And we also have a $250 USDT giveaway today. So we're going to do a few duck races at the end. So we're going to have some fun with that, give away some prizes. So stay locked in. We'll tell you how to enter that as we get a little bit deeper into the AMA today. And my opinion, the team's been doing a tremendous job in working towards the goal that they set out upon going back 6 months ago. And I think if they do this well, the traders, who we all know are driven mainly by the pursuit of gaining an edge, will be definitely drawn to this type of a superior platform. So when Flex launches and trading value increases and the platform really starts to ramp up and generates revenue, this is simply going to equate to USDC being distributed as rewards to the liquidity providers, which in this situation is you and I. So think about it like this. Flex is offering liquidity providers a nice, juicy APR as a passive investment opportunity, or at least that's how I'm looking about it. We can discuss that further. And it's really a beneficial cycle that's creating this kind of self-sustaining ecosystem that benefits all the participants. So we'll recap some of that today. We'll give you a better understanding of the decision to becoming part of the whole Flex ecosystem. And just a quick note, understanding what a perpetual trading platform means, because I know many of you may not be familiar with it. I wasn't familiar with it when I first looked into this project, and how it differs from a traditional DEX, let's say like PancakeSwap or Uniswap exchange as an example. And the difference is that Perpetual's platform can provide you leverage trading. So if you want to trade Bitcoin at 5X, 10X, 20X, 100X leverage, a platform like Flex will allow you to provide leverage to your trading. So these types of platforms, they really target two customers, traders and DeFi yield seekers. So I think that fits really well with our community. We certainly have a lot of traders in this group. We have over 400 members over in the Biggie trade room that are trading actively. We also have a lot of people on the DeFi side looking for passive income streams. So it's great that we have a balance of two with this project. It fits really well with our community. And when you think about how does projects like Coinbase make their revenue, how do they make their money? A good chunk of that revenue is made by fees. It's made by trading fees, swap fees, liquidation fees. And this is what Flex will be doing, but most importantly in a decentralized environment, because right now, I believe the stat I saw was 97% of all the trading is all done on centralized exchanges and only 3% on the DeFi side. So this is a massive opportunity for Flex. Plus you're adding in the explosive growth of the base chain. So in my opinion, Flex is really set up for a massive opportunity for growth. So just think about it as creating a centralized exchange-like trading experience. But at the same time, you're never losing control of your assets because you're on a decentralized platform. So for me, that's important. I rarely trade on centralized exchanges. I'm really big into DeFi. I'm really good in protecting my assets. So with that, we have my man Stu with us here today from Flex. Stu is the head of ops and marketing. He's going to guide us through some more info, help us learn more about this project. So Stu, how are you, my man? Thanks for coming back and visiting with the Biggie community again. And how's everything going, man?
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I mean, that was a great introduction, Biggie. I could probably just go home now. I think you've kind of nailed it. So thanks so much. Clear again. I remember the last time that we did the AMA, I was really pleased with the due diligence that you'd done ahead of our AMA and the research that you'd done. And clearly you have got yourself and you've been keeping up to speed on what's happening within Flex Perpetuals. So thanks for having me. Really excited to kind of share the progress with everyone that's listening. Got a big announcement to make on tonight's AMA. So excited about that. And really just can't wait for the journey ahead. You know, the future looks really exciting. I think for DeFi in general, crypto in general, with a new administration, with potentially, lots softer regulation, I see the future of decentralized exchanges and perpetuals exchanges in DeFi really kind of taking off in 2025. So we're incredibly excited about our timing and can't wait to share with everyone in your community.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I always do my homework, especially if it's a project in a community I'm going to put forward to my community. I even do more due diligence because if it's not a project that I would jump into myself with my own money and consider jumping into or investing into, it's not a project I'm going to bring forward to my community. So I think it's important. And that's why we have you in here so people can hear you. They understand who you are, how to get in contact with you, how to get in contact with the whole Flex community over in your Telegram, and be able to have the opportunity to ask these questions and really understand if you're going to take some of your hard-earned crypto and deposit it into any project, you should really know the ins and outs of it, who they are, who's behind it, what you're getting into. So if there's anything that you'd like to add, a kind of a quick overview of Flex Perpetuals and really help us understand who is going to use it, how, as users here in the community, how we can benefit by utilizing the whole ecosystem.
Yeah. So I think you did a great job of giving like a macro summary of what Flex Perpetuals is and who will use it. But I'm happy to go into a bit more detail on that. I thought that just for a little bit of fun, before we get started, you can see I've got the trading terminal up. So this is the testnet version of Flex Perpetuals trading platform. And I thought it might be a little bit of fun if we put on a trade just now. You can tell me, do you think is Bitcoin going to be higher or lower by the time we finish this AMA in approximately an hour's time? And I'll pop a trade on and we'll see if you win or lose. What do you think, Biggie?
All right, I'm a Bitcoin maxi investor, so I'm going to go higher. Let's go higher.
Okay, Great. So we'll stick a buy trade on. Let's do, I don't know, about 3x leverage. So I've got about 3,000 in this account. So I'll put a 10K trade on. I'm not going to bother with a stop loss at the moment. And let's just start this here. So I'm going to set up my pin.
So walk us through exactly what we're doing here. We're putting a 3x trade on and saying within the next hour that the price of Bitcoin will be higher than what it is as of right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to put a buy trade on with about 3x leverage. And what I did there was I was just setting up a pin. So the way that this trading platform is set up is you set up a pin and you can activate gasless trading. So you don't need to worry about signing each individual trade that you make. It uses intent-based architecture to allow you, literally, you just need to enter your PIN each time you want to place a trade, and it's not costing you any gas to do so. So we're going to go $10,000 long, hit buy, and that'll just take a second or two to go through. And then we should see that appear in the position section down at the bottom of the screen here.
Right.
There we go.
What I found interesting, Stu, is we can get into this later, but as a liquidity provider, right, for traders who are making these kinds of transactions, whether they win or lose, right, it benefits the users of the ecosystem either way, right, because of the volume and the transactions.
Yeah, every time someone places a trade, they pay a fee. And that's the case whether you're using a centralized exchange or a decentralized perpetuals exchange. There's always fees involved in trading. And so in a perpetuals exchange, you're paying a fee to open the trade and close the trade. But you're also paying borrowing fees because you're essentially borrowing your capital. If you're using more capital than what you've actually got. So I've just put $10,000 trade on there, but I've only got $3,000 in the account. So I'm leveraging my position. So I'm paying a borrowing fee to allow me to do that because I'm allowing myself to use more money than I actually have. So the users of the investors, whether you're invested in the Flex liquidity pool, which we can talk about in a little bit, or whether you're staking our native token, you're going to benefit from those fees. Overall, Flex gives back 90% of the revenue through various different mechanisms to investors and stakers in the platform. So as far as I'm aware, I think we're the largest revenue share perpetuals exchange. We're giving back the most. I certainly aren't aware of any other platform who gives back as much as we're going to be giving back.
Yeah, that's exciting, and that's what I find most attractive is as a kind of a DeFi passive income type of opportunity. Whether traders win or lose or get liquidated, it's fees coming into the platform, which are then passed down to the end users, and sharing that revenue and collecting that passive income stream is really important. But I don't want to jump too far ahead, so maybe let's talk a little bit more about what's transpired over the last 6 months that we've had a chance to connect, and what does this mean for the community members here that jumped into the seed round and the token generation event, and kind of where are we sitting at this point?
Yeah, so we've been busy. We've been really busy over the last 6 months or so since we wrapped up the last AMA that we did. And just a couple of highlights then. So we finished our seed round. We raised $700,000 during the seed round. 100% of that came from communities like yourself, Biggie. So small communities. No, we don't have any VCs or major whales that are dominating the supply. So there's 700,000 raised in the seed round, and then we raised another 467 ETH for the token pre-sale. So that's about 1.5 million. So a total of 2.3 million roughly we have managed to raise over the course of the last 6 months 100% community raises. As I say, no VCs. I did a little bit of analysis on our token holders a little while ago, and we can see the distribution here of tokens is really, really healthy. So the top 10 wallets hold just 3% of the overall FDX supply. That's the top 10 wallets. So that's a really, for anyone that's invested, if you're in the seed round, you can be confident that you don't have massive VCs with huge token allocations that are just going to, as soon as their vesting period's finished, that they're just going to dump those tokens on the market. So we're really confident about the long-term price action on the FDX token, which is ultimately what you're holding as a seed round or a TGE investor. So total 2.3 million raised. We've grown our team. So we now have 8 essentially full-time people that are working on the team. We've got Bill, who is our CEO. I think you know Bill, or you've certainly chatted to Bill in the past, Biggie.
Yes.
Yep. Myself, we've got someone looking after marketing and design. We've got tokenomics and research analyst covered. And then we've got 4 developers. We took on a new developer fairly recently, an ex-Radiant Capital developer. So the development team is hugely experienced. What else have we been doing? We have been building a war chest of Aero tokens, and that's a key part of our tokenomics, and a key part of our overall strategy is using this aerodrome DEX, which is where our liquidity is going to be for our native token, and building a large treasury of VE Aero tokens so that we can incentivize liquidity providers who choose to stake their liquidity directly on Aerodrome. So at the last count, again, I did a little bit of analysis on this just the other day. So far, we have managed to make about $80,700 from our VE Aero holdings. So that's income that the protocol's already making before we've even gone live and before we're even starting to collect any fees. What we're doing with that is we're buying up as much Aero as we can, so that we can maximize our ability to incentivize our own pools on Aerodrome Finance. And I think the last major thing to make you aware of is, well, there's 2 things. Chainlink integration. So we decided to integrate Chainlink as our pricing oracle. You mentioned transparency as part of your introduction, and Chainlink have probably the best reputation in terms of data accuracy and data uptime. So we decided to use Chainlink as our prime oracle, where we're getting our pricing data from for our perps, so that there's a history there, there's a verification there of prices. If anyone was to ever dispute the price that we're quoting on the platform, there's going to be a record there. So it's all about transparency. And the last thing I'll say is our audit. So we have just we decided to do a competitive audit using Code for Arena. We put a $30,000 bounty up for that competitive audit. Went really, really well, and I'm hoping to have the report back. I think there was one kind of minor issue that has been noted in the audit that our team have responded to, and other than that, it was a really good score. So we will be putting that up for consumption in our Telegram group. Anyone that is technically minded can have a read through that and make their own conclusions. And that's kind of where we have got to at the moment. The development obviously takes a long time to put something like this together. It's not a project, it's not a single contract. There was, I think, approximately 300 transactions just to deploy the contracts onto mainnet, with about 120 contracts in total, including proxies. So the development team barely took any time off over Christmas to really work and get things so that we're ready to go and catch this bull run in 2025.
Great, Stu. So just getting back to the seed round investors again, a rough estimate approximately of those people that have invested in the seed round or the TGE when the project goes live soon, right, in a couple of weeks or so, are they roughly up around 3x from where they came in?
Yeah, so it's going to be approximately a 3x uplift. So the seed tokens worked out to be about $1.50 each, based on the amount that we raised and the number of tokens that were allocated towards the seed round. So they got in at $1.50. And when we launch our liquidity on Aerodrome, it's going to depend on what the price of ETH is at the time. But if the price of ETH is similar to what it is today, then we'll be looking at about a $5 token price on launch. So that's an immediate 3x for those who were lucky enough to get in at the seed round.
Fantastic. And how do seed investors or TGE investors, once the project goes live, what are the steps we need to do do we need to claim those tokens, or how do we get them into our possession?
Yeah, great question. So I think I'll cover this in two ways. First of all is how you claim, and then I've got a diagram that shows kind of what the options are available to each different investor at different stages. So on our platform here, there's a launch tab, and you'll just need to come onto the platform, connect your wallet, and then if you went into the seed round, you would go to the seed round section and you will have to claim your LFDX, which is what you'll be getting as a seed round investor to begin with, and stake them. And so once they're staked, you'll be earning revenue share. And I'll go into more detail on that. If you got involved during the token generation raise, it's exactly the same. You would just go to the TGE phase here, and this is where you can claim your tokens. And those that get in on the TGE, you don't have any vesting or anything like that. Your tokens will be liquid. You'll get FDX from the very beginning. And in terms of what you can then do with these tokens, so this is a kind of a staking ecosystem diagram that we put together to try and help people understand what their options are. So if I start with the seed investor, which is over here on the right-hand side, you're going to be given LFDX tokens to begin with, which are, as per what we announced when we were doing the seed raise, they are locked for 6 months once the platform launches, and then they'll be vested out to you over a period of 18 months. While they're locked, they will be earning USDC. So this LFDX staking pool shares 30% of the platform's revenue with our native liquidity staking. So you're going to be getting USDC based on the value of your LFDX token. So you're already up over 3x at the beginning based on your initial investment. So you're earning yield on essentially over 3x the amount that you deposited to begin with. And then when those tokens are released to you, you will have the option. They'll be released as FDX, which are liquid, and you can hold those tokens, you can sell those tokens, or you can pair them with ETH and you can stake them in this pool. Or for those that want to continue down the kind of the passive income route with their seed round investment, we're making the feature available to convert it to ESFDX, which is an escrowed version of FDX, and that can be staked directly to earn more USDC, more ESFDX, and flex points, and I'll come to that in a moment. So that's the seed round investors. You'll log on to the website as I show you here. You claim your LFDX tokens, you stake them, and then you will get your USDC rewards, which you can claim on a daily basis if you want. They're released to you block by block. And then after 6 months, you can claim those FDX tokens, or you can claim them as ESFDX tokens to continue staking. If you got involved in fact, any questions on that, Biggie, before I go any further?
No, I think that makes sense for all the people that have got in at that level. And I am sure glad that I did, because even though all this time the tokens have been locked and they've been out of my possession, they're continuing to earn for me. So I think that all makes sense so far to me. And this chart is really helpful as well.
Great. Okay, so the next stage that we did the raise for was for the token raise. So that's what we've called the TGE investors here. So when you go in to claim your tokens for the TGE, you're getting FDX. You're getting the liquid FDX token. And what you can do with that is you can pair your FDX with ETH, and you can stake it on our platform as something that we're calling STFDXLP. And then that is going to earn USDC. It's going to earn ESFDX, which is, as I've mentioned, the escrowed version of FDX. And just for your information, you can't go out and buy this ESFDX token. It can only be earned as part of the community incentives. And you're also going to get flex points. So flex points are a tool that we have designed to incentivize people to stay in the staking pools. So rather than penalizing people for leaving with taxes or lockup periods, we are trying to incentivize people to stay by giving them these flex points. And what that does is it essentially boosts your earning potential. So you earn flex points at 100% APR, and that will essentially grow the value that you're earning this USDC and ESFDX from. But if you unstake your STFDXLP, you will lose those flex points. They're burned and you can't get them back. You would need to grow them again if you decided to go back into the pool. The ESFDX that you earn you can either stake that to again increase your earning potential here inside the ecosystem, or the ESFDX that you earn can be vested over a period of 365 days. If you choose to vest it, you're not going to be earning any yield on it, but it'll be vested out as FDX, which you can then either hold in your wallet or you can sell on the market. Once you go live, and one of the roadmap items is the launch of the FDX ETH staking on Aerodrome. So our native liquidity will be on Aerodrome Finance, which is BaseChain's largest decentralized exchange. And then once we've gone through their due diligence process at the beginning, we'll then be able to incentivize people to stake on Aerodrome through the treasury that we have built up over the course of the last 6 months. And this is kind of a unique setup for Perpetuals exchange, and it's something that we're really excited about. And if you're a liquidity provider, it's something that you should be, potentially pretty excited about as well, because what it means is the STFDXLP, which is our native staking on the platform, has an independent revenue source separate to what the staking on Aerodrome is going to have. So they're two separate pools that deepen our liquidity, but have different revenue sources. So it means that there's going to be an interesting interplay between where people are staking their LP. Are they doing it natively on Flex Perpetuals, or are they going to be doing it on Aerodrome? And so there's a bit of game theory involved there for the yield seekers who are looking for the highest yields. You can move from one pool to the other to chase where you feel that the yield is going to be highest.
So Stu, if I'm a brand new user to the project, so I didn't get involved in the TGE or the seed round, I'm just coming in. So once the project launches, let me see if I have this right in my head. If I purchase FDX tokens and I pair them with ETH and then drop them into a liquidity pool, either on the Flex project platform, or I can also drop that FDX ETH pairing liquidity onto Aerodrome. And then from that, I'm going to earn an APR while those tokens are staked. And I guess it could be different, right, on each platform, depending on how many people are staked into each of those pools. So the APR may vary at one point or another.
Yeah,
right?
It will definitely vary. And that's what's interesting about it, is if TVL starts to flow from the Flex platform to Aerodrome, then the yields there will inevitably start to drop, and the yields on the Flex platform will start to increase. So it's going to be interesting to see how, are people moving their LPs to chase the highest yields? Are they just going to stay for the long term and see if things average out? Because remember that if you remove your LP from Flex, you're going to burn your Flex points, and over time those can really add up to your earning power, which means, if you're staked on Flex, you're going to have to make a decision: is it worthwhile me moving to Aerodrome, burning those Flex points, or do I just stick to Flex and let someone else take part in Aerodrome? So it's going to be interesting to see that playing out. And the reason we did that was to ensure that stakers were getting the highest yield possible, so that there wasn't just one revenue stream, and that we were actually creating a completely independent revenue stream to incentivize liquidity for our native token.
And in either situation, whether I decide to stake on Aerodrome or Flex, my tokens are never locked, right? So at any time I can take them out and move them to one or the other?
Yeah, absolutely. So you're free to remove your liquidity at any time. As I say, the only downside would be if you're on if you're staked on Flex, you're going to burn these Flex points if you move.
A rough estimation, I think I've heard you say a rough estimation on APR for staking is somewhere approximately, again, this is just really rough numbers, but between 20 and 50% APR. And I know that is highly dependent on trading volume, right? That will dictate what the APR will be, but is a good estimate somewhere between 20, 50% based on projections?
Yeah, I think that's probably realistic. As you say, it does depend on two things, really. It depends on the amount of volume that traders are putting through the platform, because that's what's generating the revenue, the fees, and then also the amount of people or liquidity that's staked, that is divided amongst. But based on the models that I've used to kind of calculate this out, we feel that we can relatively quickly scale to sort of 500 million a week in trading volume. And if we can hit that type of number, then you absolutely, somewhere between sort of 20 and 50% is definitely achievable for those staking pools. And then we can talk about potential for the FLP, once we get to that section.
Yeah, let's start to transition over to that. And I think I also heard that the expectations when the Flex launches, there's going to be about 1 million in liquidity, right? So that should be really attractive to big traders that have any concerns about liquidity issues.
Yeah. So we're really trying to prioritize depth of liquidity, because ultimately this is a utility project, so it's not designed to be a pump and dump on our native token. Our early investors, our seed round investors, our TGE investors have put faith in us with their hard-earned cash, and so we're going to do everything that we can to ensure that the price of that native token remains robust and steady. And the best way for us to do that is to make sure that our liquidity is deep. So the deeper our liquidity, the less impact large sales are going to have on the price, and people don't get freaked out when they see a big red candle. And because we've got such a healthy distribution of tokens, no one person, or even the top 10 holders of the tokens only have 3% of the supply. We're really pleased with that distribution, and think it's going to help, along with our focus on liquidity, for a long-term token that just gradually it's going to go up and down, but gradually trending upwards. And that if it trends upwards, the value of your liquidity is going to also increase, and therefore your yield that you're earning is going to be increasing as well.
Quick question from Alaska Beast, and I think I can send you, Alaska, a link to a video that I've done with Flex, which really outlines the project. But he's asking why base chain and what advantages that offers. So if you take a look at the link I'll drop over to you, I did a pretty good deep dive into why base chain and why really there really isn't anything on base chain like this project as far as the Perpetuals deck. So I think there's a big gap in the marketplace for Flex to jump in to the base chain and offer this type of opportunity. But I'll pass that on to you. We'll really outline for you what the advantages are and why the team decided to do this on the base chain.
Yeah, I mean, well, we're excited about the base chain and the growth of base chain in the coming years. As in terms of the EVM chains, whether it's Base or Arbitrum or Optimism or Binance Smart Chain, we feel that Base has the biggest potential for growth. It's captured the kind of the hearts and minds of the AI agent kind of community. It's good for meme tokens. We see there's going to be a lot of volume coming through Base moving forward, and we want to capitalize on that. And to date, there isn't really a large Perpetuals exchange on Base. So, Solana is obviously hot at the moment with all the meme tokens, and again, you're kind of latching onto the AI meta. But there's two really big perp dexes on Solana already. Jupiter, Drift are the two biggest, and I think Radium have just launched a Perpetuals element to their platform as well. So we'd kind of be a small fish in a big pond on Solana, whereas we can start and have a relatively good chance and opportunity of growing market share on Base in comparison, and that's why we chose Base.
Another quick audience question: is there any projection as to how many users Flex expects to have on its platform, let's say by the end of this year, 2025? Any rough estimates?
So we're more focused on volume rather than number of unique users. Mm-hmm. The volume is the lifeblood for our platform, and I mentioned there we'd love to get to a stage where relatively quickly where we're doing 500 million in volume a week. We think that's achievable. We also feel $1 billion a week on average is also achievable. We've got some big plans in terms of our roadmap and driving adoption with some unique products that we're going to be launching, fairly quickly after we've gone live, and that's going to help spread the word. And just at the moment, now that we've got a better idea of our launch date, we're really now starting to ramp up our marketing efforts, and we're going to be partnering with some KOLs, and we're going to start spending some serious cash on marketing to really drive the word and get the word out there.
Great. Now let's shift over to another really important feature of the program. Talk about the FLP, which is really the index token, right? The market making token of the project.
Absolutely. So for anyone that has missed the seed round or the TDE, this is kind of your next opportunity to get in and get a bit of a bonus by being early. And I mentioned at the beginning that I had a big announcement to make. So we can officially announce today on this call, Biggie, that our FLP surge will be going live on the 11th of February. So get your USDC or your CB, BTC, or your wrapped ETH ready because you'll be able to take part in the FLP surge from the 11th of February. And what that means is that the FLP surge will last for 5 days, and then the platform goes live. So we're going to be looking at, I think the 16th of February is a Sunday, so we're probably not going to launch the platform live on a Sunday, but it will likely be the 17th or 18th where live trading commences, and then that's when seed round investors, TG investors, that's when you can go in and claim your tokens. So we're there. We've had the nod from the dev team that we can announce that date, and we're really excited about it. So let me tell you a little bit more about this FLP surge. FLP is it's really the fuel for our entire trading ecosystem. So when you deposit FLP, you're providing liquidity to the leverage traders on the platform. And what you get is a token that it's like an index token. And it's 40% USDC, 40% Coinbase wrapped Bitcoin, and 20% wrapped ETH. So by holding FLP, you're holding an index of those three assets. And so if you're bullish on BTC and ETH, over the course of the next 5-10 years, then it's a really good long-term investment or potentially a long-term investment that allows you to get exposure to those assets in a balanced portfolio. So because it's got 40% stable coins, it's going to have it's not going to be as volatile as holding just BTC or just ETH. And our plan is to switch those ratios when we start to feel that the market's getting overheated, to go a little bit heavier in the stable coins to, again, just reduce the volatility to the downside. So you're holding FLP tokens, but if you get involved in the surge, which is going live on the 11th of February, we've got some extra bonuses for you because you're providing liquidity early. We need that liquidity to allow traders to trade. So if I just go to our documentation here, I can show you exactly how that FLP surge works. So on the 11th of Feb, when this opens up, you're going to want to get in as early as possible. The first $500,000 that are deposited into the FLP share 70,000 in bonus ESFDX rewards. So that's going to be these ESFDX rewards are distributed to you monthly over the course of 1 year. So if you deposit, say, $10,000 into the surge, you're going to get essentially 116 ESFDX every month for 1 year, provided you keep your liquidity in the pool. So if you get involved in the second tier, so once the first 500,000 are done, the next 500,000, they get to split 60,000 ESFDX, and so on and so forth. So that the sooner you get in, the bigger bonus you're going to get. And those ESFDX tokens, if we go back to this little diagram, you can stake those to earn more rewards. And remember, we're launching at roughly $5 per token. So with a $10,000 investment in the surge, you will be getting potentially roughly about $600 of ESFDX every month, over and above the standard USDC that you earn as a staker in FLP. So this FLP staking gets 45% of the platform revenue. So that's a higher percentage than what you're getting for the native token staking. And so there's the potential there that the yields are going to be, as good, if not better, than the native token staking. So you can be holding a blue chip index and earning, potentially 50%, 30% APR, 50% APR on those blue chips.
Okay, that's fantastic. So in a way, you're buying and staking this token, and you're basically getting yield on blue chips. You're getting yield on Bitcoin, you're getting yield on Ethereum, and then you have 40% stable to help stabilize it. So that to me is a fantastic opportunity. Instead of just holding Bitcoin or Ethereum in my wallet, I can purchase FLP, especially during the surge, get all those added benefits, be able to stake that, and I can remove that at any time, right? It says 12 months, but that's my decision whether or not I want to keep it there for 12 months or not, right? I can remove that at any time I wish. You
can. Other than if you deposit in the FLP surge, you're locked in for 1 month.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't take part in the surge, but you still want to provide liquidity, there's no period where you're locked in. And if you deposit in the surge, and let's say for whatever reason you need the cash and you have to withdraw it after the first month, that's fine. You can do. What will happen is you will then forego any future ESFDX bonuses.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And those bonuses that you were going to get are then shared amongst everyone else that still remains. So realistically, if you get involved in the surge, there's probably going to be a few people that drop out within that first year. And so the amount of ESFDX that you earn is going to increase.
And this liquidity that we're providing specific to this token is really mainly providing liquidity for leverage traders, right? That's what it's going to be used for?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me just show you an example of a similar setup with HMX, which is a Perpetuals exchange in Arbitrum that we have a partnership with. If I go onto their June dashboard, just give this a second to...
And another question is, what percentage of that revenue from the leverage traders are coming back to the stakers?
So 45% of the revenue, the fees and the borrowing fees go to FLP stakers. But the FLP acts as the counterparty to leverage traders. So this chart that we're seeing here on June is the HLP token, which is HMX's version. And this is just the price performance over time. So you can see it's kind of largely following what we're seeing with BTC and ETH, with a few sharp moves that maybe we don't see on the BTC and ETH chart. And that is likely if there's been a big loss by a trader or a big win by a trader. But if we scroll down here further, we can see the cumulative performance of traders is going down. So, since HMX launched, it's minus 4 million. And that their HLP benefits from those losses, and ours
So it
will
looks
go
like
too.
most traders, it looks like long term lose, right? I mean, that's what I'm looking at from this chart.
That's certainly what we're seeing here, and
Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense. You often hear the statistics like 95% of traders
Right.
fail.
Right.
You're going to get a few who do really well, but generally speaking,
Right.
the vast majority of traders over time seem
Over
to lose
time.
against the market.
Right. But for stakers of FLP, whether they win or lose, it doesn't really matter because 45% of those platform fees are coming back to the stakers, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
it's a win. So that really doesn't really concern you. So also, what would happen in a situation where a trader gets completely liquidated? Where does that go? Does 45% of that, is that also coming back to the stakers?
So the FLP would benefit from that. So if you put like $10,000 of collateral into a trade and you get liquidated, then the FLP gets that $10,000.
Wow, that's big.
And it will use that to buy more of the USDC, more of the Bitcoin, and more of the ETH.
Mm. Yeah, there's so many ways just running through my mind how I would utilize this project, whether it's it's utilizing the FTX ETH liquidity option and staking that on the platform, or staking that on Aerodrome, or with the FLP surge and basically buying into a blue chip token, which is a mix of Bitcoin and Ethereum, staking that. And you're on top of that, if you're bullish on those tokens like I am, so not only are you going to capture the upside of those tokens as appreciation of their price continues to rise, but you're also generating and gaining all the fees coming back to the staker. So, in my mind, that's, for my specific goals, that's a win-win for me. That's the way I view it. That's what excites me about that. So that opens February 11th, and then is it only open, did you say, for a couple of days before that surge promotion closes out? Is it just 3 days, I think you said?
I muted myself because the
No
dog was
problem.
barking. Yeah, 5 days. 5 days.
5 days. Okay, so from the 11th through the 16th, roughly.
Yeah, and you can still get into the FLP after that. You just won't get those bonus ESFDX tokens. So the earlier you can get into the FLP, the better. And I'll do my best to remind your community, nearer the time that's coming up.
And how do we buy into that, Stu? Where do we go to buy into that, and what tokens do we need to buy into that FLP token?
So it's going to be our website will be flex.trade, so nice and easy to remember. And then you would just go to this launch page, and the phase 3 FLP surge, and then you'll be able to deposit in here. And you can deposit USDC on Base, you can deposit Coinbase Wrapped Bitcoin, or you can deposit Wrapped ETH on Base.
Okay. Question from Ben. Does the time when I deposit into FLP surge day 1 versus day 5 affect anything? So going back to the chart Stu put up, it's less so dependent on the day, right, Stu? The more so as to how much is coming in for each tier.
So it's it's skewed to incentivize you getting involved as early as possible. So you still have the same amount of FLP regardless of when you deposit, but the later you deposit, essentially the less ESFDX bonus tokens you're going to get.
Got it. Quick announcement for the giveaway that we're going to do at the end of this for the duck races. So what you need to do to participate in that, and I think we have Wong Flex in the chat with us, is you just need to DM a message to the Biggie bot with your Telegram username. Use the word hashtag Biggie Flex and send a message to that Biggie bot in the Telegram. That will record your entry for the duck races, which we'll do a bunch of, I think we're going to do five separate races, $50 in stable for each duck race. So what you need to do in the chat is just send the information to the bot. Wong is in there. He just posted all the information. You're going to send a DM to @Biggie_1 bot with your Telegram username and the keyword Biggie's Flex. We're going to leave that open for the next 10 minutes or so while we wrap this up. But make sure you do that. That will get you entry into the duck races, which we'll do once we conclude this. We'll do them live right here in the Telegram. Again, I think we're going to do 5 separate $50 stable coin on the base chain races. So if you want to get into that, all the information is posted inside the Biggie Telegram. So getting back to the project, Stu, I think we did a pretty good job of kind of getting through recent updates, understanding the liquidity pools, both on Aerodrome and on the Flex platform itself, pairing FTX with ETH. We spoke about the FLP surge and that token and what it means. So just wanted to see if there's any remaining topics you think are important for us to understand. Let me see if I have any, scroll through the chat to see if there's any other audience questions as you're thinking about that.
While you're having a look for questions, I know there are some traders in your community. So, we obviously want to try and incentivize people to come and use our platform. And so we're going to be running a trade to earn program where, the amount of volume that you trade on the platform, you're going to qualify for, a rebate in ESFDX. So you'll be able to earn these flex trade credits, which will allow you to essentially offset some of the fees that you pay as a trader. So you will have an opportunity to really reduce the cost of trading if you come and try trading on Flex Perpetuals. We're going to be doing some airdrops and stuff as well, and that will be volume based likely. We'll announce that, what that looks like once we are up and running and we're live. But suffice to say, we're really keen to drive as much volume through the platform as possible because that benefits everyone.
Excellent. I'm just looking through my notes. I think I have all the questions I wanted to get answered. I'm just browsing through the chat to see if there was any additional questions I may have missed. I don't think so, but if there are any additional questions or that we didn't cover during this AMA, I will drop the links to the Telegram community. You can always find Stu there and the rest of the team. Wong, who's in here with us, is also over on the Flex Telegram, is excellent in communication and getting back to you with any questions or updates you have. Again, this will be recorded, so I'll drop this on my YouTube channel so you can pass it along to anyone who think you may be interested, or if you just want to go through it again. There's also a primary project overview video that I did about 6 months ago, which was really take you a deeper dive into the project itself, what it is, why base chain, how to best utilize it, and some more background information. So there's plenty of resources there if you need. If any of your questions for some reason did not get answered during this AMA, just refer back to the YouTube videos, jump into the Telegram over on Flex, or of course, anytime here. There's a good partnership here between the two communities, and there's always an open level of communication that you can find if you need some additional information about some questions about how to get in, how to participate, or once the Flex project goes live, always there'll be support available 24/7 if you have any questions. So with that, Stu, I think we did a great job today in updating the community as to where we stand, what's to come. Anticipation about February 11th about the FLP surge. I think that's really excited. I am certainly going to jump in. I will continue to share this information with my community for anyone that missed it, because I think it's a tremendous opportunity if you're into this type of investing into DeFi and getting into projects like this and earning a passive stream of income. It really doesn't get much better than this, in my opinion. And you have some blue chips that you're putting your funds into and locking them in. And while they're locked in, you're earning income on that as well. So great AMA as always, Stu. I appreciate you spending time with the community and kind of walking us through exactly what's happening. It's really important for everyone to gain confidence in the project, to know who you are, know who the team is, and to bring us up to speed. So grateful for your time and for your efforts and for doing the second AMA with us. And we'll do another one once we go live. We'll continue to have follow-up discussions, and once the project goes live, and kind of maybe we can do a walkthrough on some staking options and how to best utilize the platform as a continued follow-up.
Yeah, great. Well, thanks for having me. If anyone does have any questions, like Biggie has said, pop into our Telegram. You can tag me at crypto_Stu22, and I'll do my best to get back to you as quickly as I can do. Biggie, I have to say that your trade is up a massive $3.55. So right. I'm going to close that out just now for break even. Should we call it break even?
I'll call it break even.
I think I seem to remember seeing something on Twitter before I jumped on the call. There's potentially some executive order coming out fairly soon. So perhaps everyone's just laying in wait for what that's going to be. Exciting times. We can't wait for Flex to launch. We'll see you all in the very near future. Don't forget, February the 11th is our FLP surge, and then the platform will be going live for trading, and the tokens will be available to claim for seed and TGE investors 1 week after that. See you all soon.
Great. Thank you, Stu. And for everyone else who's here, we'll leave the bot open for a couple more minutes so all of you can get in for the duck races, but I'll leave this open. I'm going to stop the recording here, but you all can stick around. Once Stu drops off and it's getting late for his local time, I'll share my screen. We'll get the duck races set up. We'll have some fun with that, give away some prizes, and we'll get that going. So I'm just going to mute my mic here for a few minutes, stop the recording, and we'll be back in just a minute or two once we get these duck races started. But continue to get your entries in. It's pinned there in the chat. Juan can also help you out if you have any questions on how to get in to the duck race competition and what you need to do to qualify. And I'll be back in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Biggie. Good luck, everybody, in the duck race.
Thanks, Stu. Have a good one.